4 goal Cole. 4 goal Cole is what he does. This is a regular occurrence in 2024, Chelsea fans. We've seen it before. We've seen it against Everton. We've seen hat-tricks against United. 3 hat-tricks this year in 2024 for Cole Palmer. He does what he wants. He does what he wants on that pitch. He is an absolute freak, and he's generally up there with any of the best players in the world. That is the level Cole Palmer is showing at Chelsea on a consistent basis. That's 11 goals and assists this season. He does it all. It's not just about the goals. It's not like Haaland where he's just contributing that way. Palmer is just an unbelievable attacker. And today, he could have walked away with more. In fact, in that first half, he should have had 5. When he hit the post, that's probably the easiest chance of the lot. The way he takes that 4th goal, the free kick, he is an absolute joke of a player and a joy to watch. The pass in the second half for Jackson, this guy is so special and we are so lucky to have him at Chelsea. Do you know what? Today, it should have been an even better day for Chelsea, realistically. We won 4-2, but we haven't beaten Brighton 4-2. We've beaten Robert Sanchez 4-2, haven't we? And we'll go into that later, but I'm just absolutely buzzing because this was a Cole Palmer display, and there were a number of shining performers today in that Chelsea side. But I do quite quickly want to say, before we go into it, thanks for the response to my most recent video, because it's been very positive, and I've had a number of new subscribers. Obviously, some of you guys watching are fairly new to the channel, and I can't be more thankful enough for that. Obviously, it was a video I felt had a bit of risk to it, so the fact that it was, perceived very positively and people felt very much the same way as me, it means a lot. And Chelsea are continuing to reward us because that performance today was unreal. And look, no one can swat this away saying it's a poor side. We played Brighton, were unbeaten. Brighton went to the Emirates, they got a draw. Brighton beat United. I know we don't really rate United, let's be honest, but you get my point. Brighton had a good start to the season, and they were lucky to walk away with a 4-2 loss. That is the reality of the situation. We took our foot off the gas and showed more control in the second half, but we still had chances within that. Jackson rounding the keeper should have scored, really. Even Noni had a couple times where he could have maybe done a bit better, but that first half, what I loved so much about it was the fact that we showed we can overcome adversity in going 1-0 down. In the previous weeks when we've had those wins, people might argue we weren't tested team-wise, but we weren't tested in terms of letting in that first goal. We all know first goal is very key for Chelsea in these recent years because it kind of feels like it's going to completely determine the game in terms of where they go mentality-wise. But today was not the case. We go 1-0 down and there's fight back immediately. Like, forget the fact we scored 3 goals. It felt like we scored about 6 in those 3-goal span, didn't it? If we had goals ruled out for offside that were very tight, Palmer should have scored. We were suddenly awoken. We felt sloppy. We gave away that goal. I think Sanchez kind of gets a bit of a nudge from Welper, but I just don't know why he's going to challenge that. If he just stays on his line, the bloke's not going to score a header from almost on the edge of the box, let's be real. So I was disappointed in him there because he'd had a good 2 previous games. We know that Bob Sanchez is a bit of a scarecrow at times. We know he gives us the jitters when we're building up on the ball, and sometimes his passing is a bit, lackadaisical and a bit lazy in that regard, and we got punished for that. We got punished for that today. That kind of returned with the second goal that was given away. It was just, he literally just passed it to him. He passed it to him and went, there, have an open goal. Like, Bob, you're not playing for Brighton anymore, all right? You've been playing well the last 2 games. Keep that going. Keep that momentum going. But luckily, performance and result-wise as a team, we did keep that momentum going. We dispatched of them. Jadon Sancho, I'm talking about Cole Palmer a lot here, obviously, but Jadon Sancho has been very good since joining Chelsea. And I, for one, am stunned, and I'll happily eat words that during his spell at United, I was underwhelmed by the player. I didn't see a player that was capable of really beating his man. And he's shown multiple times, already in the Bournemouth game in particular. The West Ham game was more quiet despite walking away with an assist. But he has now got 3 assists in his first 3 games in the Premier League for Chelsea, which is the first time a player has done that since Hazard and Fabregas. It's not bad company to be in, is it? But today was probably my favourite performance. Obviously, it was a cameo against Bournemouth, but the skill that he does in winning that pen, forget the little 1-2 with Enzo, that's nice, and then he squeezes between the 2 defenders to win it. However, prior to that, the way he beats his man, the skill that he was showing, and then the pass for the 4th goal. The pass is perfectly weighted. It's greatly intercepted by Enzo Fernandez, but Jadon Sancho's pass and Cole Palmer's finish at the near post, it was just a delight to see. We were punishing a team. And I've said this throughout this season, we look ruthless going forward. We look like we will rip through teams. And today was no different. And a lot of people, I think it will probably be the same. Do you know what? I'm just going to call it out there. I'm posting this before Match of the Day comes out, obviously, and the analysis starts to come in. It will be about how bad defensively Brighton were. Because we saw it last week with West Ham. It's about how awful the other team is. Maybe it's not a coincidence at this point. Maybe, just maybe, we make a lot of defences look bad because we've got some very good attackers. And attackers that feel succinct with each other. They feel fluid. They feel like they know what their movements are going to be. And the only thing you could maybe knock is that it could have been more. Now, in previous years, Chelsea have had a goal-scoring, goal-finishing problem. We were creating lots of chances, but we were incredibly wasteful. At this point, with Cole Palmer kind of putting them away in general, you don't get quite that issue. Jackson's been a bit more clinical. Yes, he didn't get his goal today, but in general, I'm just saying, he chips in more. And it's at the point now where we are creating so many chances that you're scoring 4 goals and looking at it going, we could have had more. It's not a bad position to be in, is it? And the fact we have those options, like Noni Madueke, I thought again had a more quiet game. Since Wolves, really, that hat-trick. God, we've got 2 players on hat-tricks already this season. What is going on? But either way, Noni Madueke, I thought had a quiet game and could have had some better selections in decision-making. There's one where he cut in the first half where he could have laid it off to someone, but he comes off and you bring on a Neto. Go see what you can do. Like, it's so nice that we have the ability to change a game like that. Someone's not quite on it, Maresca can switch it, and he's aware of that. He has no qualms with switching. He's not waiting for the other team to get back into the game. He is proactive with his substitutions, and that's something that I've noted throughout his short tenure so far, but it's something I really like. I even think what's so joyous to see, genuinely, because we saw this last season with Raheem Sterling, there was a number of times there was a lot of selfish decision-making going on at Chelsea. Even in the last game that Cole Palmer scored for, the last game that Cole Palmer scored for was only a few months ago. How mental. But either way, we saw that penalty little spat. Do you remember with Jackson, Madueke, Palmer? And it was like, just let Cole take it. He takes the pens. And now, I feel like Jackson, there was a number of times today where I thought, you could have shot there, mate. You didn't have to try and square it. Even Cole Palmer's goal for the equaliser that Jackson sets up, he does brilliantly well. And that's so unselfish from a striker. Strikers, in general, they have the biggest egos, or that's how it's perceived. They want the goals. A lot of strikers are actually criticised sometimes because it feels as if they don't really care about the win, they just want to walk away with their goals. And Jackson doesn't feel like that. And like I said, a few months ago, very immaturely, he was kind of kicking off with that pen incident. And it shows a real growth there, mentality-wise, within the squad and the harmony amongst the squad. There's a real demand there to win now. It's not just about like, I want to show what I can do. They're growing as a team. They are not just a bunch of talented individuals. And this wasn't some perfect performance. As I said, Bob Sanchez had his struggles, and Brighton did at times in the first half threaten. I thought that Baleba guy in midfield was very good for them. But Caicedo and Enzo, I actually did think played well. I saw a number of bits of criticism towards Enzo in that first half. I didn't really think it was fair. I think he's a different kind of midfielder in terms of what Caicedo offers. We know that, last week against West Ham, he was Kante-esque. I thought he was really good again today. But Enzo in that first half, there was the pass where Palmer should have scored. That was a great ball. He wins it back for the 4th goal to give to Sancho. I still think he chipped in and did his job in that regard. But perhaps it does leave you more susceptible than maybe a pairing of Lavia and Caicedo does. So it gives us options going forward because we've got Lavia back now. He came on and got minutes. It's just a nice time to be a Chelsea fan at the moment. And we've waited a while on that front. We all know that. But we are seeing more and more of those signs that we can begin to believe, that we can begin to trust this team slightly. Not fully, because even at 4-2, there's still a part of you thinking, well, if we let him win, we might just cave. You do think that. I think today is a real marker we've put in the sand in terms of overcoming that adversity. That can't be overlooked. That's the first thing for me. We go 1-0 down early. Naturally, their fans are all up for it. We're thinking, oh no. Were we just playing well away from home? Is this a thing now? Is it a thing that we're only good away from home? Because at home, we hadn't won a game up to this point, in the Premier League anyway, and yet it was 4-2 at half-time. They showed that they can overcome that. And the biggest test will be one of those top scalps. That's what Chelsea are looking for. I know we played City first game of the season and it didn't go our way, but we'll be looking to beat a Liverpool, beat an Arsenal, because it's been a while since we beat one of those teams. Probably under Tuchel, right? I'm trying to think. We haven't beat Arsenal since under Tuchel. We haven't beat City since under Tuchel. Have we beat Liverpool in that time? Nah. No, we haven't. Okay, yeah. That's what we're looking at, guys. We're seeing a lot of signs. We're seeing more consistency. We're a bit worried about the keeper, naturally, but hopefully he can just, those previous 2 games, if he can just do that consistently, that'd be great. I do worry on that front. However, we need to now put a final marker in the sand to let people know. Let the people know. People will wake up at that point. And if I'm honest, I don't really mind that they haven't woken up. I kind of want, as much as I mentioned it earlier about Match of the Day saying Brighton were really poor or whatever, I kind of want that. I like us under the radar. I like the little horse developing. I like the little horse getting its milk without anyone know it's being fed milk. Let's hope everyone just thinks we're crap still. It's taken a while. They're kind of coming out their slumber and they're seeing 6-2s and 3-0s and 4-2s and against a team that was unbeaten at that point. Maybe the penny will drop. But hopefully the penny drops too late for everyone else. And teams continue to come at us. They don't sit in a low block. They continue to give us space to rip them to shreds. Because we will do just that. And like I said, we scored 4 today and it could have been more. There are tiny offsides that ruled us out. Oh, I've even just remembered 5-2 in the second half. Cucurella scored. That would have been the icing on the cake. That would have been the cherry on the icing on the cake. That would have been delightful. Cucurella bagging against Brighton. We had Colwell score against them the season before. Perhaps next time Caicedo can chip in. But sadly, Cucurella's goal was ruled out for offside. Obviously, it's a correct decision. But like the Noni one where he squared it when he was offside, we just had a real flurry of attacks today. And some of the moves put together are delightful. They really are. We're a joy to watch. We're an entertaining team. And I can only see reason to be positive at the moment when it comes to Chelsea. Other than Bob. Bob, sort your shit out. And it's the Europa Conference League this week where we take on the mighty Ghent. Our first appearance in the Europa Conference League, hopefully the last. But we have an opportunity to win that trophy and become the first team to have won it all in that regard. Technically, we know we've won it all, but realistically, we haven't won this. This is a fairly new competition, and no one who's won what we've won has won this. So let's be the first to make history there. Chelsea, we make history. We don't just live in it. So I'm buzzing for that, and I'm buzzing just to see Chelsea again. Although we do have an international break soon, so great. That's such a nice feeling, isn't it, though? Because we've had that in the last couple of years where Chelsea, you almost want the international break. You're sitting there begging for the international break because you're like, oh my God, we're so bad. And it's not like that at the moment. We are something I look forward to. I know I'm going to get the Cole Palmer shows. I know I'm going to get other people surprise me a bit. Jadon Sancho being one of them. Like, if that guy can keep cooking, that would be fantastic. But yeah, once again, thanks for that reception on the last video. It really meant a lot to me, and it was very surprising in terms of just, how many of you guys were new, in terms of subscribing, in terms of liking and commenting. Let me know that you were very much on the same path in terms of thought. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. It lets YouTube know this is the place to be. This is the Chelsea place to be. It's your place to be. Up the Chelsea.